Hey folks, Queen Roadkill Candy here, and today I want to do a quick video. It's more for noobs in Magic, and it's about shuffling Magic. No matter what you do, your lands can and will clump up sometimes, and so you can try the best you can, but this is partly a luck-based game. So most people play with sleeves, so I'm going to make sure I use a deck with sleeves. And I'm going to show you the different ways you can shuffle it. So first there's the basic one where people make piles, shuffle it. You know, a lot of people like to do 9, like a 3x3, making it 9 kind of grid thing, and then they shuffle their deck and they put them in piles, different things like that. Now, what some people do is they'll completely pull out their lands, and then they'll shuffle like one monster, one land, then they bring it all back together, and then, you know, shuffle it like this. Right? So, now the next shuffle is usually when you're playing, and you cut the deck, you go, you know, like this when someone hands it to you, and then you hand it back to them. But I find that, especially if your opponent didn't do the pile shuffle, like this, you should probably try and not do the fan out cards like you would a deck of cards, but like shuffle them, make sure that these stand up just a bit, and then push them into the deck. And the reason you want to do that is because otherwise things will clump up like this with static, or maybe it's a bit smaller like this, and so the person's going to just keep moving around the exact same pile of cards between their hands. And, I mean, that could be bad, could be good. It doesn't really matter. The fact is it's not very random because of the static from these. And so what you really want to do, like I said, is just open these just enough and then push them in. It's a little hard on the sleeves, but, I mean, the sleeves are not there to always be pretty. They're more there to protect the cards, and so the cards are completely fine inside, and it really helps not to get it clumped. It also helps, like, so the reason why you both cut each other's deck is there literally are people who will stack their deck. They'll be like, okay, I put the cards in this order, and I shuffle, this is whatever, and then they count what they're doing. And so the reason why you're shuffling is to make sure that you don't know if they've stacked, and they probably haven't, and there's very few people that do that, but there are people that do it, so it makes it more fair. And it's a anti-cheat mechanic that's in there. And then B, it helps, you know, make sure that everything's random, because they shuffled, you shuffled. You know, you both have very clear different shuffling styles. This helps, you know, get the monsters in different spots, the land in different spots. You really, really want to shuffle, good or bad. It's really important to shuffle the deck. And so I just wanted to point out why it's so important to shuffle the deck, and why it's important for, like, some people are just like, cut, because they don't have time, they don't want to. But, you know, unless you're on the last round and they're like X number of turns, and you really have to push those turns for someone to get a win, because like a tie is pretty crappy. It always is pretty crappy. So you want to try and push that out. And so that's the only reason you would go cut. You always want to make sure you do it, you know. Like I said, it's not even the person's fault if these things are sticking together. They're going to get the same hand, good or bad, but you really want to make sure that you're shuffling it. And I'm just going to say, like, I didn't understand at first either when I was new. I was like, why are we doing this? And it was explained to me why, you know, you do that. And some people, you know, they're like, you know, it's meaningless, or it's stupid, or it's part of the protocol. And it's like, it's just another check in place. Like, it's just to make sure it's fair. It's not to the extent if you were in the pro league where you have to go and you're like, okay, so I have X number of these that I got on my packs. I used X number of these in my deck when you do pro. And again, that's another thing to make sure people aren't switching out cards. They didn't magically get cards. You know, they don't have, like, cards coming up their sleeves or whatever, right? And so when you're playing, even if you're playing over the table, because there are super competitive people, Of course, some people like to shuffle on the side like this. I personally don't, because when you're on the side, what happens is either one of the persons besides you's not playing, and they could face the owner of the deck afterwards, and they'll be like, holy crap, that person has like a $60 card, right? And even though people aren't supposed to sideboard before the match, they still could sideboard. And then the other one, of course, you see the cards or they see the cards, and you don't want that. So that's why I always think you should always put it just like this when you shuffle. It's better if you have it touching the ground, but sometimes that's not possible because like the cards are going to like hit the table and you don't want to damage the cards, right? So always place them down like this when you're shuffling. That way, you know, you're not flashing people cards all around you, because you don't want on all four sides of you anyone to see what's going on with the deck, just to keep it fair. With someone's deck, really consider it like privacy, you know, with the cards. So you always want to make sure you shuffle like that. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching a quick video more for shuffling for beginners. Oh, and before I go, I should mention, don't do the fan where you like push down the cards and then crane them back like that and push them into each other. That's why you just lightly do it up like this. And the reason why is if they have a card that's, you know, worth the down payment of a house in there, like standard, probably not going to happen, but you might play Legacy or Modern. You never know what's going to pull up in those decks. And I don't want you guys to ruin their cards, because, you know, people invest in these decks. If someone sold their whole Magic collection, they can probably put a down payment on a house, and I think that's why sometimes people disappear from Magic and then come back, because they sold all their old cards and got some money, and then they come back. Anyways, guys, thank you so much again for watching. Please like and subscribe. I hope this beginner shuffle video and why you should be cutting each other's deck is super important. You're not saying that anyone's cheating, but you're never going to have that in the back of your mind as long as you're shuffling these decks, because, you know, it's kind of like if you were to play a video game, you did a LAN party and not over the internet, so lag doesn't get involved. That would be my best way of describing it. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. Hit that bell. Bye.